Barak the Yahweh, Barakatha, Yehoshua, Barak the Yahweh, Barakatha, Yehoshua, Ba Hashem, Rakak Wadash. The honors to the apostles, the elders, salutations to you, sincere brothers, teaching in truth and sincerity. Lesson will be entitled Addressing the Common Board. Lord will, you are edified. Video was inspired by a question from Ak, not Op of Judah. And it reads, Shalom Ak. I have been studying the word wife, Strong's H802 in the Bible Interlinear Concordance, and it is translated 780 times KJV. Long story short, it is being used as a woman slash wife. The question that I am asking is, does that simply mean the woman that a man has chosen to make love to or lay down with? The definition doesn't involve a celebration of marriage or any sort of ceremony to sanctify a marriage. If I am correct, then that would mean a man should choose a woman he lays down with as if he is choosing a bride, correct? That would explain some of the problem in the Israelite community. If I am wrong, could you please edify me with the wisdom and understanding through the words of Yahweh, Ba Hashem, Yahweh Ba Hashem, Rakakwadash. Okay, bro, so let's understand how ancient marriages took place. According to this source, myjewishlearning.com, ancient Jew marriage. In biblical times, people were married in early youth, and marriages were usually contracted within the narrow circle of the clan and the family. See, during the ancient times, marriage was nothing but business. Okay? Marriage was nothing but business, and love had nothing to do with nothing. Okay? It was all about joining two families together for better attainment of certain assets. Okay, so again, in biblical times, people were married in early youth, and marriages were usually contracted within the narrow circle of the clan and the family. It was undesirable to marry a woman from a foreign clan, at least she introduced foreign beliefs and practices. Negotiating a match. Now, this should answer your question, bro. As a rule, the fathers arranged the match. The girl was consulted, but the calling of the damsel and inquiring at her mouth after the conclusion of all negotiations was merely a formality. Love had nothing to do with it. Okay? Let's go to Genesis chapter 2 and 21. And Yahweh power caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam. Let's start at verse 20. And Adam gave names to all cattle and to the fowl of the air and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found an helpmeet for him. Okay, so Adam still lacked an assistant or helpmeet. Verse 21, and Yahweh power caused a deep sleep to fall on Adam. He put him in a trance, and he slept, and he took one of his ribs and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which the Lord power had taken from man made he a woman and brought her unto the man. Let's continue. Verse 23, and Adam said, this is now bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman because she was taken out of man. All of this is symbolic talk, meaning that Eve was Adam's kindred. Okay, she was kin to him. All right, that's all that means. And anyway, Adam lacked a helpmeet. And what happened? The Most High appointed him to a woman, or appointed a woman to him, okay, to be his helpmeet. And let me reframe that, okay, or not reframe, but rephrase it. The Most High chose a woman that would be appointed to Adam. Everything has to be done decently and in order, okay? So, with that being said, let's go to the duties of a helpmeet. Let's jump to Genesis 3 and 16. Now, this is going into the judgment after Eve went off, okay? So, for sinning, there are consequences. Genesis 3 and 16, unto the woman, Eve, he said, I will greatly multiply your sorrow and your conception, and sorrow you shall bring forth children. And your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. And the real reason why marriages don't work is because Esau has created a situation where now the woman, okay, has the position of authority, or he makes the relationship 50-50, okay, based on the system. All right, so how Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah set it up for the man to rule over the woman. Whenever you have a woman, okay, that is not in her feminine energy, okay, and the man is not in his masculine energy, it will never work. And this ultimately goes back into the curses, okay? That's the reason why these marriages are not working, and that's the reason why Apostle Paul said what? 1 Corinthians 7 and 28. But and if you marry, you have not sinned, and if a virgin marry, she has not sinned. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, meaning what? Problems, barriers, obstacles within the union of your marriage. And that's for everybody. Okay? And when I say everybody, I'm talking about Israelite families. That's the reason why the man is not in the household, going back to the curses. Okay? The curses spoke of that. That's the reason why a woman will have an evil mind or evil mind towards her husband and her children, going back to the curses. So ultimately, trouble in the flesh, issues within your relationship, my relationship, and their relationship, and I'm referring to Israelites, is because of Deuteronomy 28, starting at the 15th verse. Okay? Now, with these marriages also, okay, it just depends on what? The circumstance of that situation. But according to my Jewish learning, in biblical times, people were married in early youth, and marriages were usually contracted within the narrow circle of the clan and of the family. Your emotions, my emotions, her emotions had nothing to do with nothing, okay? It was all about business based on logic and not feelings/emotions. And that's the reason why we have such a high divorce rate, because a woman, okay, can fall in and out of love with that man. And based on all this authority she has, she can file for a divorce. But during the ancient times, that wasn't so. But of course, okay, we did have a protocol for, or in pursuit of, a bill of divorce, okay? So, as a rule, the fathers arranged the match. The girl was consulted, but the calling of the damsel and inquiring at her mouth after the conclusions of all negotiations was merely a formality. This was the protocol. Okay, the fathers arranged the marriage. Okay, and the woman, or the woman/maid, was consulted after the negotiations had arrived. Okay, so let's go to Genesis chapter 24. And verse 1. And Abraham was old and well stricken in age, and Yahweh had blessed Abraham in all things. And Abraham said unto his eldest servant of his house that ruled over all that he had, Put, I pray you, your hand under my thigh, and I will make you swear by Yahweh, the power of heaven and the power of the earth, that you shall not take a wife unto my son of the daughters of the Canaanites. Right. Which goes back to what? So-called Africans. Okay? And their biblical identity goes back to Ham. All right? Ham was the progenitor of these Canaanites. Okay? So, among whom I dwell. But you shall go unto my country and to my kindred and take a wife unto my son Isaac. So, wait a minute. Who chose Isaac's wife? The spirit of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua instructed Abraham to do what? Send his eldest servant and choose a woman from his kindred. Isaac had nothing to do with it, okay? So, of course, when he did see her, it worked out because it was actually love at first sight. So, Genesis 24:67, and Isaac brought her into his mother Sarah's tent, and took Rebekah, and she became his wife. And how did she become his wife? Through intercourse, okay? And he loved her, and Isaac was comforted after his mother's death. But the point is that Isaac received Rebekah, okay, by the instructions of Abraham to his eldest servant. And this was set up in the spirit first. All right, let's go to Genesis 28. You know what? Let's start Genesis 28 and verse 1. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, you shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Okay, and Isaac received these same instructions from who? Abraham, okay, his father. And he's doing the same thing for who? Jacob. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, you shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padanaram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take you a wife from there of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. So wait a minute, okay? Jacob falling in love with Rachel, okay, was via the instructions of who? Isaac. So he received Leah and Rachel and their handmaids via the instructions of Isaac. And Isaac called Jacob and blessed him and charged him and said unto him, you shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padanaram, to the house of Bethuel, your mother's father, and take you a wife from there of the daughters of Laban, your mother's brother. And the Most High Almighty bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, that you may be a multitude of people. Okay? Verse 5. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padanaram unto Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padanaram to take him a wife from there, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, you shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan, and that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother, and was gone to Padanaram. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau to Ishmael and took unto the wives which he had Mahalath, the daughters of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nebajoth, to be his wife. But the point is that Jacob received instructions from Isaac on going to Laban, okay, and selecting your daughters. Selecting your wife, okay, which further proves what? The fathers arranged the marriage. Love had nothing to do with it. All right, let's go to Judges chapter 14 and verse 1. And Samson went down to Timnath and saw a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. And he came up and told his father and his mother and said, I have seen a woman in Timnath of the daughters of the Philistines. Now therefore get her for me to wife. Then his father and his mother said unto him, Is there never a woman among the daughters of your brethren, or among all my people, that you go to take a wife of the uncircumcised Philistines? And Samson said unto his father, Get her for me, for she pleased me well. Right? So even Samson's father had an issue. And he was saying, look, marry a woman from your nation who is an Israelite. But remember, everything is spiritual. Now, the reason why Samson was so in tune with this heathen woman, verse 4, but his father and his mother knew not that it was of the Lord Yahweh that he sought an occasion against the Philistines, for at that time the Philistines had dominion over Israel. So Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushua, was going to use the union of Samson and his wife, which was a Philistine, so he could use Samson as a tool to bring on them judgment. Okay, but the point is that Samson's father did not want him to marry that heathen. All right, bro, let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 22 and 13. Let's go to all right, and this is also a concept within the marriage. Let's start at Deuteronomy chapter 22 and 15. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take, well, let me start at verse 13. If any man take a wife and go in unto her and hate her, right, and give occasions of speech against her and bring up an evil name on her and say, I took this woman, and when I came to her, I found her not a maid, meaning what? She wasn't a virgin, a literal virgin. Then shall the father of the damsel and her mother take and bring forth the tokens of the damsel's virginity unto the elders of the city in the gate. Verse 16, and the damsel's father shall say unto the elders, I gave my daughter unto this man to wife, and he hate her. And lo, he has given occasions of speech against her, saying, I found not your daughter a maid, and yet these are the tokens of my daughter's virginity, which is, and they shall spread the cloth before the elders of the city. And the elders of the city shall take that man and chastise him. Okay, but the point is basically that woman, okay, will lie on this sheet, okay, and the man will penetrate his wife, and of course her hymen will be penetrated, okay? So therefore blood would release, and that blood releasing on that sheet is a token that she was a virgin, and that token would stay with her parents just in case the husband would start lying. Okay. So if he lie, and the elders of that city shall take that man and punish him, and they shall immerse him in 100 shekels of silver. Let me read this in the NLT so it's clearer. They must also fine him 100 pieces of silver, which he must pay to the woman's father, because he publicly accused a virgin of Israel to shameful conduct by saying she was a whore. The woman will then remain the man's wife, and he may never divorce her. Okay? So, of course, she would have to be a virgin as well within the father's making this arrangement. Let's go to 29. All right, now this, of course, is going into the protocol of rape, okay? If a man, verse 28, if a man find a damsel that is a virgin, which is not betrothed, and lay hold on her, and betrothed is going into being engaged, and lie with her, and they be found, meaning he rapes her, right? And this woman is not engaged to no one, nor married. Verse 29, then the man that lay with her shall give unto the damsel's father 50 shekels of silver, and she shall be his wife, because he has humbled her, he may not put her away all his days. All right. So, of course, there was a protocol. Even if a man seized and laid down with this woman, right, he raped her, the protocol was for him to pay her father, and he cannot put her away. Now she is a wife of his, and therefore he has the duties of marriage to abide by. Let's go to Exodus chapter 22 and 16. And if a man entice a maid that is not betrothed and lie with her, he shall surely endow her to be his wife. If her father utterly refuse to give her unto him, he shall pay money according to the dowry of virgins. So also, that man's family will have to pay the bride-to-be's father a dowry, which means what? Strong's H 4119, mahar, purchase price for wife, wedding money. Let's go back to the same article. In marriage, the mahar was paid and a detailed agreement reached between the families of the bride and groom. This betrothal was followed by the wedding, when the bride was brought into the home of the groom who took actual possession of her. So in a nutshell, our fathers arranged the marriage. Okay, love had nothing to do with it. A dowry was involved. Okay, and more so, marriage had nothing to do with emotions and feelings. It had everything to do with logic in the terms of businesses agreements. Okay, and therefore assets could be assets were really the thriving point. So Lord will, you're edified, bro. Shalom.